Member McCartney.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I want to raise with you the issue of EU Londoners. And I know you have concerns about the process that the government is aiming to set up. And I've recently met with the chair of the East European Forum, who is extremely concerned that under the pilot scheme that the government has tested, that EU nationals who have made London their home have to provide evidence and documentary evidence of every month of their previous 5 years living here to get settled status. And many East Europeans, particularly Romanians and Poles, do not have tenancy documents. They may not have formal contracts of employment, so they will be in difficulties. Have you made those points clear to government, and has the government responded to your concerns yet?
Thank you for raising those points the way you've raised them. It's important to understand the context. EU Londoners have seen the experience of the Windrush generation and their descendants in relation to what's deemed the hostile environment consequences of the government's policies. So you're an EU Londoner, you've seen how a celebrated generation and their descendants are being treated by the government. You understandably are anxious and nervous about how much confidence you can have in the government, in the Home Office and in UK BA. We've been lobbying the government. Whenever I meet the government, I've been making this point. It's really important to address those concerns. It's really important for any process to be as easy as possible and for it to be streamlined. One of the reasons we set up the portal on our website is as a lot of the conversation we're having with EU Londoners like you referred to. And the portal is something that has credibility, the GLA, with these EU Londoners. EU Londoners are scared to go to the Home Office for advice, for obvious reasons, or UKBA. And so we've provided a safe environment where this information is available, but also we're supporting outreach work to go into communities to give them assistance. I'm going to carry on lobbying the government in relation to the points you've raised. Just to give you an example of some of the concerns, I met yesterday the relevant minister from Portugal who's in charge of overseas citizens. We've got, roughly speaking, 250,000 Londoners of Portuguese descent in our city, making a massive contribution. We've got to make sure they know they're welcome in our city. We've got to make sure they know what will happen in relation to the secured status route. But the government's got to recognise some of the concerns people have. The idea that they'll register 3.5 million people overnight and it'll be a success, there's no evidence I've seen from the past the government will be able to do that.
Indeed, and I think with local authorities being so depleted of funds and cuts from the government, that actually their ability to assist is significantly hampered. But earlier in your opening, you talked about your wish, which is our wish as well, that, you know, Article 50 is revoked and we have a people's vote. And you said you thought that all Londoners should be able to vote in that referendum. Could you expand who you would include in all Londoners?
When I think about some of the benefits that Londoners have, for example, young Londoners to get apprenticeships, to do exchange visits as a consequence of being members of the European Union. When I think about the 16, 17-year-olds deprived of votes, and I think they should have a vote. If you're above the age of 16, you should be able to vote in the new referendum. I actually would be in favour of EU citizens having a vote in a referendum. They vote in other elections. Why not a referendum? And I think these are some of the questions that will need to be addressed in relation to should there be a vote. I think there should be. And I think it's really important for us to try and include as many Londoners as we can in the process. And again, some will argue this is not democratic. I can't think of anything more democratic than widening the franchise to get more people eligible to vote.
Thank you. I have some EU Londoners have contacted me to ask whether you would support their having a vote. So I'm very pleased I'll be able to report that to them. And will you make that case strongly to government if we do go down the road of a second referendum?
I will do. I mean, my focus over the next few days is trying to persuade the government to withdraw Article 50 or extend it. That's the most pressing thing. We've got 70 days, I think, left until the clock runs out. Some people in this part of the chamber would welcome that catastrophe for ideological reasons. Some members of the Tory group and the Brexit alliance, I think, it would be catastrophic for our city.
Thank you.